Hey everybody, I am just simply going to tell you guys our gender for this pregnancy, what our baby is going to be, baby E, as well as their name, and I'm just so excited to be doing this. I will say that we had the cutest video planned out, and we have had nothing but rain for the last week, and the ground is soggy and it is gross, and it was so windy that we could not do the cute announcement we had planned. We didn't plan on doing it for 2 weeks, but I could not keep it a secret any longer. It's really hard to keep a secret like that from anyone. So without further ado, these are the hats that we bought. There's a little brother one, it's a little brother, and there's a little sister one. And I'm just going to give you guys a backstory of us so that you guys kind of know, and then we will tell you what we're having. And I'm going to add little snippets at the end of the blooper reel for the different gender announcement we tried to do because they're hilarious. So essentially, I was a single mom at 18 to my son Aiden, and then I met my husband Andrew. He had a daughter who was 7 months younger than my son, and for about 2 years it was us, and every other weekend we had 2 kids running around, and all the time we had Aiden. And when they were both 4, well, my son was 4, she was 3, we found out that we had orders to move all the way here to Virginia. We're from Washington State, so our family is all back in Washington and we're here. We had had 2 losses and then a 3rd loss right before we moved. And when we moved, we were 6 months pregnant. So that is never fun. 6 months pregnant with our son Bryce. We moved here, and then we had him 3 weeks early, and he was perfect, 7 pounds 2 ounces. He is the light of our life, and he's a little crazy wild child, just like both of his parents. After that, we had 2 early losses. He was 3 months old when we found out we were pregnant again. I miscarried a week later, and they call it a chemical. But my doctor said that he thought that it might have been ectopic by the way that my body was handling and responding to it. In June, so that was 5 months later, we found out we were pregnant again. And he did an ultrasound and said everything looked great. A week later, we went to a marriage retreat and I spotted just a little bit and got nervous. We went to the hospital and my HCG levels hadn't doubled and it had been over a week. They were concerned that it was ectopic, but they did not have equipment at that hospital. We were in a town pretty far away, and we came home, went to our hospital, and our doctor told us that it was ectopic and my tube had ruptured and that I needed emergency surgery. So we went in and had emergency surgery done, and that was very scary and it was very painful. It was emotionally devastating. The first 3 losses we had before we had our son Bryce were all from things like I was on birth control and then I was on Depo, and they were early, and I had an ectopic. So this was a little devastating to us because we had started to plan how it would look like to have a 17-month-old baby and a newborn. So that November, a couple months later, we found out we were pregnant again, and in January we were thrilled to find out that we were having a baby girl, and we named her Sophia Marilyn, and we went through the entire pregnancy and there weren't a lot of issues. 2 weeks before she was born, my blood pressure was a little bit elevated, and my doctor was in Alaska, so I was seen by the nurse practitioner, and they really weren't concerned, and her heartbeat was a little lower than normal, but again, they weren't really concerned. I went into the hospital twice in 1 week, and they basically sent me home both times, even though I was in labor. The second time they sent me home, I was 4.5 centimeters dilated, and I was contracting regularly, but they were starting to space out even though they were getting more intense. I went home, we spent the next day doing our normal routine. I fell asleep that next night, and then in the morning, my doula came. Contractions were very strong and intense, and they were not stopping. We finally went to the hospital, and within 15 minutes of getting to the hospital, our daughter was born, and she was stillborn. I had a placental abruption, so the placenta completely detached at some point, and by God's grace, it clotted behind, so I did not bleed out, because I should have died during that devastating time, and I didn't. Our daughter is a huge miracle and a blessing to us, and we love her so dearly, and she is very important to us and in our lives, and she's changed our outlook and how we see things and how we see the world. And because of her, our relationship with God has grown tremendously, and there's not enough words that I could say to make someone understand that our daughter doesn't bring us any pain. It's complete joy and excitement and love, and I just can't begin to explain how blessed I am to have been her mother. So we decided we were going to try again after I think a month of going back and forth, and we tried for a long time. We have a couple videos up of us trying, and we essentially found ourselves pregnant almost 2 years from the time that we found out we were pregnant with her. Our due dates were like days apart, and our son Dexter was born 3 days before her second birthday, and he is perfect and amazing, and I love him, and he's 9 months old, and he is all sorts of crazy, and he's brought us so much joy. He is literally the perfect infant. He is content, he is happy, he wakes up excited, ready to meet the world, and he is a joy to be around. We love him so. And then we found out we were pregnant with this baby, and this baby was unexpected. We found out from I had an exam, a really difficult exam, and I had decided that I was going to drink a little bit for the second time since I had Dexter. And I decided I was going to take a pregnancy test just in case. I was still breastfeeding, and obviously we had only had like maybe a cycle that was regular and nothing else. So there weren't very many indicators. I just wanted to be safe. I didn't want to go drink and then find out later we were pregnant and then feel bad. And the test came back positive. Of course it did. So that's how we found out we were pregnant with baby E. So we have Aiden, Bryce, Sophia, Dexter. My husband's daughter's name is Madison. We don't get to see her, unfortunately. We love her to death, but it just isn't a good emotional thing on that side. So we have essentially allowed ourselves to understand that we're probably never going to see her, but we love her, and she's very much a part of our lives, and she has affected our lives greatly, and we love her and can't wait to see her one day. But these guys, should I tell you? I should, right? It is a baby girl. It is a baby girl, and I cannot believe that we are having another daughter. I cannot believe it at all. I have had so many moments where I've just cried thinking about, like, what if this is a girl? Because I full-heartedly believed that we were gonna have another boy, and I would just cry in the car thinking about the fact that this could be a girl. And then we found out that it's a girl. Like, we're really having a daughter, and she might be with us all the time, and I just feel amazingly blessed, so blessed. And her name is going to be Eloise Amelia, and those names are both after very important people in our lives. So Eloise is after my god sister Brooke Elise. Elise is her middle name, and then Amelia is after my other god sister. Her name is Amy. So I get to have a little piece of them every time I think about my daughter. And my grandma Billie Jean, her middle name is Louise, and that's a family name. So Eloise kind of just, it was perfect. It was a perfect way to honor my grandmother and my little sisters. My little sisters aren't related to me. They grew up down the road from me, and we did absolutely everything together, and they are very much my family. Their whole family kind of just became a second family for me. And yeah, I just feel so happy, peaceful, joyous. I mean, it's amazing how I feel. I do worry that Sophia may, and I know this is silly because she's not going to feel this, but I do worry that my excitement for this baby girl may overcome what I had with Sophia. But I know that Sophia is very excited that we have honored her by having another little boy and now her little sister. And I'm going to start crying because it's too amazing. We didn't even think we were going to have one after her. And now we're having another girl and we already have Dexter. So it's just, we are having a girl and her name is Eloise. So that's it. It's a girl. It's a little sister.